Actually equivalent of the solution or the answer. So the actuaries adapted me last year and they gave me a clan, translated my name. So I'm an ambassador of a clan from the Acholi to Busoga, and an ambassador of the Chawazinga to the youth. I have been privileged to work with John Katumba.
Yep.
Who we call Katumba Oil. Why? Personally, I respect anybody who does something that I can only even dream about. And what Katumba did by standing for president, to me, was something to be admired and respected. And so I had the distinct honor of being able to lend him my mind, and we are building a party called the National Revival Coalition. And for those of you who have not yet given birth, or for those of you whose babies are under 2 years, your children will be the ones who will vote for Katumba. So we are working towards that. Having said that, yes, I am privileged to be in my neighborhood. By my neighborhood, I mean Seeta. I was in Amilyango College, and I'm happy to be here. Feels similar. I wish I could even swing by the gates because I've not been home in a while. It's a pleasure to meet you. So having said that, real quick note now, we're going to do this. This group will be one, this will be a second, and then this will be group 3. We're going to do a small exercise at the end of my small talk. And it's as simple as this. Let me start by asking how many of you are aware about what's happening in Gaza and Israel? Are you?
This side on.
Not this side only.
This side?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you?
I would between the two and one second, I think, yes.
Yes. You have an idea? Do you have an idea? You've been very busy in the hospital. Do you have an idea about what's happening in Gaza? Okay. Anyhow, yes. What do you know about Congo?
Congo. Why not Gaza?
Okay, then maybe you'll join this group. Since you know about Gaza, you'll join this group. So, we're going to try and do something. At the end of my talk, I'm going to give you some time. On this side, I would like you to think about how you could fix the Gaza-Israel war if it was up to you. And then you're going to try and fix
that of Congo.
African issues are not easy to fix.
If it was
But
you.
Kagame gave us context.
And then you are going to try and fix the Ukraine-Russia war if it was up to you. Yeah? So, let me get into it real quick. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God.
God.
Shall inherit the earth.
Where is that?
Matthew 5, 4 or 5.
Matthew 5 verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Who wants to be called a child of God?
Not all
Who
of
wants
us.
to be called a child of God? Okay. What have we been told it requires to become a child of God?
Make peace.
To be a peacemaker.
Maker.
But then, I've also discovered that there is no bank for peace. There is no place you go and you find peace kept for you. Do you understand that? There is no place where peace just exists. Even in heaven, there has been war. Right? Even now, there is still war in heaven. Do not be deceived. So, if peace is fought for, and yet peace cannot be found, it therefore means that peacemakers have become the most necessary people needed in our time. Because everywhere we turn, there's conflict here, there's conflict there. But someone said that the absence of war does not necessarily mean the presence of peace. Do you agree with that?
Sure.
Now, you as Rotaractors, young people building your career or in the beginning of your life, in the genesis of your life, if I ask you this question, what do you think you can be able to achieve without peace? How much can you do without peace? You as an individual, if you have no peace within yourself, yeah? And first of all, I'm imagining that you all know, or if I told you to define what peace is, what is peace?
That knows it.
Peace. Maybe I check my dictionary.
Please do. Feel free. Yeah, but you might not be able to define peace because no one has ever asked you to define peace. Yeah, but the words that have been used to replace the word peace can be calmness. What have you found?
Yeah, they're saying mean a state of tranquility, quiet, and harmony, absence of violence.
Now that sounds boring to some people, isn't it? There are some people who they cannot live
Without violence.
Yeah. So we've seen war on social media. We've seen war at home. We've seen war in our communities. But do you know the correlation between growth and development with peace? Do you know that without peace there cannot be any significant growth or significant development? Yeah? We've heard the government of Uganda constantly bragging how they brought peace, and with the peace that they brought, we have development. Now, if you think about it, what has happened in Gaza and in Israel, how long is it going to take to rebuild Gaza? You recently saw the fall of Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Yeah? And you saw the state of Syria, how it was. Or maybe Syria is fat and we don't know about it, but we have an idea about Gaddafi and what Gaddafi did for Libya, right? And now where is Libya? How long do you think it is going to take to rebuild Libya, to rebuild Syria, to rebuild Gaza? How long do you think it's going to take? Do you think one generation would be able to?
No.
Yeah. Now, if you remember, when Russia and Ukraine got into war, food became expensive. Yeah.
Fuel expensive.
Fuel became expensive. Governments began to fall. Right? Sudan fell. Are you seeing the price of peace? Are you seeing the price of peace?
In Syria,
Even Syria. This is the price of peace. Meaning that without peace, as human beings, there is very little we can do. And in the absence of peace, we are able to erase generations' worth of work. That is why the word that I started with says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Why? Because God is about building people. It's about developing people. It's about growing people. So what does He need more than anything? It is people who maintain peace. And the very other strange thing is that absence of peace within a human being, yeah, will cause war with another human being. And then the absence of peace within that small home will spill over into the community. And the absence of peace in the community becomes a national problem, and then it becomes an international problem. What do I mean? A man called Abraham has a wife, wife has a maid, wife gives maid to the man, have a child, man has a child with a maid, gives birth to this child, then eventually has a child with the wife, and then now all of a sudden the wife and the maid cannot coexist, and they have to throw away The maid and the child. The child goes ahead, grows, becomes strong, becomes a nation. The one who stayed behind with the wife also grows up, grows strong, becomes a nation. Then many years later, guess what? You have Gaza and you have Israel. Because the children of the maid are the ones who became the Arabs. And the children of the wife are the ones who became the Jews. But their father was
The same.
the same. And their God was
The same.
why do I keep bringing up God? It's because imagine how many wars have been fought in the name of God. But when you think about it, it is the same God. So how can the same God be fighting against himself? If it is not because of misunderstanding. And therefore that shows that a lot of the wars and the absence of peace comes back to communication and understanding between individuals. Do you get it? Now I've shown you how one man's family has become a global problem for generations. The absence of peace between those two women has become Muslim and Christian and all these wars that they fight. To the point that Gaza and Israel are fighting over land that they're all going to leave behind. That's a strange thing. What are they fighting for? An idea. Do you get it? So how many times have you had random useless arguments? Because the other person calls God Allah, or you call God God, or Elohim. But you are too ignorant to understand that Elohim and Allah are the same thing. Are you following me? So, for you to be a peacemaker requires you to have the capacity to step back and understand the context, where you can remove your feelings from a matter or from an issue, and then weigh facts as they are without feelings. So that if you're going to be in the middle of warring brothers, you must not have feelings. Do you get it? Because this is why Paul won the Nobel Peace Prize, being able to bring peace between Gaza and Israel, bring peace between Kony and Uganda. But we've seen that the absence of war does not mean the presence of peace. So the questions I have to ask is this: we've asked ourselves, what is peace? A state of tranquility. What is conflict then? Someone want to check for us? Because one would imagine that if it's a mirror, this is the opposite of the other. Are you learning something so far? This might be a different kind of talk than you used to. But I could not resist the opportunity to come and talk about peace and reconciliation. Because when I say that I'm a bridge builder, what I mean is that I build bridges over gaps of conflict to connect people. Right? So, as the teacher looks for us for the meaning of the word conflict,
Really good.
what does it say?
A clash or disagreement, often violent, between two or more opposing groups or individuals.
What did you teach?
English and literature.
Awesome. I know what I know. Do you know what I know?
No.
How can you know what I know?
By getting to ask you what you know.
Listen. You get it? So where does the clash come from? Me forcing you to understand what I know before I accept that I need to know what you know. Have you understood that? Where you are right now, you already know what you know. But I can't know what you know unless I am willing to
Listen and
keep
understand.
quiet, listen and ask you what you know. Now, I'm saying this to come to this point. If we each know what we already know, And the only way we are going to learn from each other is by listening and asking questions. It's so that in that exchange we build peace, because you might discover that it was a simple misunderstanding. It was a simple miscommunication. You've heard the story of how Bishop Huntington was killed.
Yes.
What does the story say?
The king of Uganda ordered that Musajja Bamute. They released the man, and the person who took the message said, Mumuite.
You get it? Sometimes it's as simple as that, that if you're going to be a peace builder, you must have the capacity to listen. The first one we say, take feelings out of things so that you can bring brothers together. So now here it requires you to be able to listen. But I asked Joe Biden last year when he was sending extra money to Ukraine, and asked him this question: what did peace do to you? Why do you continue to peace on peace? Why do human beings continue to peace on peace? Peace is there, then you peace on it. Why? Why do we peace on peace? How do we peace on peace? We have all discovered that Russia and Ukraine need to de-escalate. Then someone gets $72 billion and adds them to Ukraine. What is that person doing for peace? You get it? Now M23 recently, you heard, they had declared a unilateral ceasefire. And then yesterday, boom, it's fresh. And then Uganda is sending in new troops. We are also there. A lot of peace. Peace on peace. So sometimes one can imagine, why do we hate peace? Yet we have seen that without peace we cannot achieve any significant development. So that makes me ask the question, what are the major causes of conflict and war from the beginning? Because remember, there is no such thing as a nation. It is people. A nation is people. That is why you cannot talk about peace without talking about the family. Because the family is the smallest unit of society. That's why I took you back to Abraham's house and how Abraham's house's problems have become global problems. Jipiri and Labongo, brothers who fought over something small, became a tribal conflict. Did you get that? So it means that even you, that's why the word told us, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And our translation says that blessed are those who work hard to make people to collaborate rather than to compete, for they will discover their true nature, which is the nature of God. Because these are people who are making everything happen to make things work. And I believe those are people I'm talking to here. Yeah? So, if in your relationship there is war, you'll be amazed. Yeah? It can easily become a global catastrophe, depending on which people you are. Do you get it? Like if Trump and his wife have major issues, a certain country can disappear from the face of the earth. You people are laughing. Yeah? But some people have, some communities have disappeared because a general's wife refused to give him some the previous night. This is how important peace is. And yet here we are going about piecing on it. So let me ask, what do you think are the major causes of conflict and wars amongst human beings? Because before they are nations, they are humans. So let's have causes of conflict. Yes? Miscommunication. Are you talking about?
Greed.
Greed. I love that answer.
Cold War.
Cold War. Explain Cold War.
Cold War is one anayaita history. Cold War, because it is exchanging words against each other.
Yes.
Contrary. This one says it's this one says opposite.
Okay.
So although it's just a disagreement in the words.
An argument of words.
Yes.
Okay.
For the main conflicts, we have tribalism. It can cause conflicts.
Yes.
What causes tribalism?
Tribalism, it is caused by, if I'm a Muganda and someone is okay, I'm just relating, if I'm a Muganda and someone is a Munyankole or a Muchiga, I might say, that tribe, Oshagera. Then we end up
What is xenophobia?
Xenophobia.
xenophobia.
Conflicts between black people of same race. People of same race.
People?
Same race.
So when a Munyankole or a Muchiga listens to that, they start talking about what? Okay, it brings about.
But at the end of the day, what brings that?
You're onto something. Yes, what is xenophobia?
Where?
Someone, real quick.
Hatred of strangers, of foreigners.
Hatred of?
Strangers,
It's like
foreigners.
Now, do you know where that comes from? I'm connecting these two things. It is called the principle of otherness. The principle of otherness. Otherness is basically what she was saying, that it is us against the others. But can there be us without the others?
No.
Can there be others without us? That is where now Ubuntu comes in to say that you are because we are. I am because you are. So the conflicts of tribalism and xenophobia are coming from the basic ignorance of human beings in the concept of otherness. That somehow the majority will find a problem with the minority. Yeah? And then the minority will also find a problem with the majority. But let me teach you people something. Before you argue with someone on anything significant or insignificant, do this. For example, if you are Mlokole, like I am, and also a believer in Islam, like I am, then you'll be lucky. But if you are still on the other side,
Thank you.
yeah, then let me teach you something. Remember what I said? I already know what? I know. I don't know what?
You know.
Now, being a peacemaker means that I go to find out what you know that I agree with. First of all. Do you understand?
Okay.
Because in my studies of the Quran, I found that a lot of what it says is in the Bible. But most Christians are too lazy. They'd rather read the Bible 100 times without reading a page of the Quran. You get it? But if I find out that what you are saying, I agree with part of it, that is where we are supposed to start. What do we agree about? That becomes the baseline. The moment we find things we agree about, the things we disagree about will lose their energy to cause conflict. Have you understood that? First and foremost, as a peacemaker, seek similarities, because they will always be there. Sometimes people are fighting because they are so similar, as sons who are fighting with their fathers. You find that all the problems your father has with you are because he has them with himself. You get it? All the problems your mother has with you are the problems she has with herself. So, we've seen here that greed, ignorance and otherness, fear, these are some of the causes of conflict. But her answer, and what?
Economic inequality.
Yes, resources. Please, how? If there is no peace, there is conflict. Okay, but what you've said, resources.
Yes.
the presence or absence of resources has how it causes conflict. If the resources are a lot, there is greed, like in Congo. If the resources are few, there is war, like in Sudan. I get it, the strange thing about this. So greed is one of the major causes of war. But I didn't come talk about greed. But you have seen what greed can do. But I want to believe that amongst you that have had the opportunity to be under my voice, you can be able to know that you have had enough and that you have enough to share. I ask for this question. How much money would you be willing to kill someone for?
How much are you offering?
How much money would you go against? How much would you go against your principles? Ladies, how much money will you do the thing you said you would never do?
There's no amount of money that can make it.
Speak for yourself. It really does depend on the situation.
Please.
So,
Yogera mpola tebawulira. Ayinza okudduka.
So, having said that, peacemakers have to be the kind of people who are content within themselves to put peace above everything else. Do you get it? If you remember, did you watch the movie 300?
The latest, the old one.
The old one, Gerard Butler.
Yeah, remain.
You remember the humpback who sold his friends? So he sold the Spartans for what? For acceptance.
Yeah, that's because he had 30.
He had a hunchback, he was ugly, but he went to the emperor. The emperor gave him women, gave him gold. All he wanted was to be accepted. Because he didn't have inner peace. So, I don't have much time. I'm going to try and summarize it. To be able to be a peacemaker, the role of a peacemaker. By now you can figure out a lot of things we talked about. Peace lies in the hands of the peacemakers. Development lies in the hands of the peacemakers. Good families lie in the hands of peacemakers. How many people's lives have gone astray because their parents separated? How many children's lives have really crumbled because their parents could not stay together? You get it? How many empires have crashed because husband and wife could not stay together? I hope you've been following the Katanga case. The woman who killed her husband and then she ran mad, and it's been going on. Rich people in Buya. Wife closed herself in a hospital, but eventually had to be put in court with her daughters for killing her father. But rich people, rich family, and that has happened. Yeah. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of peace. And that is why all the greetings we started with, global greetings, local greetings, all of them refer to peace. That every time you come next to a human being, every time you come into contact with a human being, the first and most important gift you can gift them with is peace. Once we are at peace with each other, we can do more together. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, yeah, to try and solve world conflict. Yeah, so you're going to sit and discuss. On this side, you guys are going to discuss. What would you do? What do you think is the problem between Israel and Gaza and Palestine? Yeah, and really, how can it be? So, in the pavilion can coach a soccer team. Yeah, so that is how we are going to do. Right? We're trying to solve world peace issues. So on this side,
So we come up with solutions for solving.
yes.
This side Gaza,
This side is Gaza.
that side
This side is Russia, Ukraine, and then this side is Congo.
I was simple. Kill Kagame.
The Palestinians killing them and they are
Yes, what's really happening? Yes.
Russia, Ukraine. How best to resolve that? What do you
Okay, thank you. So for us, we are discussing about how the war in Gaza and Israel, in Gaza will be solved. Of course, to give a brief background, I think this is mainly a war of territorial boundaries, Israel and Palestine. So some of the solutions we have agreed is the diplomatic negotiations and ceasefire agreements they should be put in place to make sure that these two countries sit and agree whether such that they stop fighting. Yeah, because I think the war is amongst them and they're the ones who need to come to an agreement. Now the other thing is humanitarian intervention. At least we believe they should allow humanitarian groups to bring in food. For example, there was a time Israel was not even allowing those international organizations like Red Cross to come and help. You get it? These people, I feel they should be allowed to come and help the children, innocent children who are being killed and all that. Then, of course, international pressure and sanctions. Of course, big international bodies like the UN, they should put serious sanctions on the stronger country there, by the way, which is Israel, by the way. It is the one which is killing these people. And no, please, I'm giving ours. This is Israel. Now, the last part, I feel, because they should have a two-state solution. I feel as these two countries, they should sit and draw clear borders of their countries to try and resolve that issue of the borders for Israel and Palestine.
Thank you very much. What I was hoping that I would have heard from what you said was Jerusalem. Because when you think about it, the real battle is for who owns Jerusalem. But you know what is interesting? Is that for anyone who wants to quote scripture about Jerusalem has not read what the scripture says. The scripture says Jerusalem belongs to God for all nations. Meaning that Jerusalem cannot be owned by anyone. But if it cannot be owned by anyone, it is so that it can be owned by everyone. But people have not yet read. Thank you very much. Give him a hand clap. Okay. Yes. Do you feel like you think they've tried?
Yeah.
I wish it was that simple.
First of all, I'm following you.
You get me? I wish it was that simple. But what comes against it is what you said. Greed, pride, fear. Very basic thing. Yeah? Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, tell us about Congo.
So I was saying, we have got two tribes in that location. There is the Hutus and the Tutsis. Now, Rwanda is being ruled by the minority tribe. That is But earlier on, in the geographical location, we had a demarcation between Congo and Rwanda. See that? So a fraction of Rwandese were demarcated under Congo, and then a fraction remained in Rwanda. See that? So the people who are in Goma belong to Goma. They are not Rwandese. But the Congo government does not want to accept that these people belong to Congo. Yet they were born in Congo. Now to add on that context, during the genocide, some of the Rwandese crossed to the other side of Congo. Meaning maybe after the war they would have gone back, but they stayed for long, so it means they belong to that location. So that is basically what is causing the war. That the government is not recognizing the people who they feel don't belong to their country, so they feel like they are the minority. And now what brings this war is that the people want to be included in the government. You know, when you're a minority group living in a location, the only way you can get recognized is when a fraction of you also is in power. But the central government does not want to give anybody from Goma some authority, and that is what is causing the war. Was it about the 2000 something resolution that the government had allowed these people to be given shares in government, but it was not effective, and that is why the M23 came in place to revive what the government had promised. Now, how does Kagame come in? Kagame is from the minority, and they are the rulers, and he wants to protect the minority group to be in power. Even on the side of Congo, the Tutus are the majority. So if the Tutus gain power the other side, most likely they are going to They are going to disturb him in this country, and therefore he may. I think it is now a public secret that he supports the M23 to ensure that the people who are the other side, the minority, keep the power, so that he safe this other side. And of course, by him making sure that the minority are in power, he's also getting something, because the place is it's gifted. Now, where does Uganda come in to take the troops? Probably, this is not my say, maybe they are also getting something. Even UN and other nations, as they are also going there, probably they are also getting something. So that is what is making. That's the context. Now, the conclusion. Just like our president said, Shekedi should come and talk to the M23 themselves to find a solution. The solution may be to either include them in government or make them a sovereign state. That is what.
Here is what we thought. Here is what we thought was the solution to the Ukraine.
You want to start with the solution?
Yeah, I want to start with the solution. I explain now, so it's like the whole context is to write. So we discovered that it mainly resulted out of the annexation of Crimea. It's a I won't call it a state, but it's in between Ukraine and Russia. But according to a 1954 agreement, that state has been transferred from Russia to Ukraine. But now Russia came back and re-annexed it, yeah? Because these guys in Ukraine, well, the reason they had been fighting before is they also wanted the population. Like, we just were to be a state, you know? And they were. But here comes these guys, and now they want to join the European Union. NATO. Of course, Russia couldn't let that happen. Yeah? Go over there, go that's one name, because I feel like, okay, we felt this was also partly a war for superpowers. Superpowers. So Ukraine joining NATO or joining the EU would literally mean that they are giving the Americans an upper hand. That's why when you came and said Joe Biden gave these guys money, it's literally because they were joining and they were giving an upper hand over Russia. Okay. And Russia could not let that happen. So, in this is what we thought. We thought that these guys should first stick out of the EU, since they had issues as the Soviets, since they had issues as they were socialists, whatever ways they had back then. I think they should kind of stick to that. And and these guys of the EU should first keep their business to themselves. Let these guys sort themselves slowly. I understand the Ukrainians are feeling oppressed because this Kapat was recaptured, and then those guys in Kyiv were striking and all, rioting and all, but let the other guys stay out of this guy's business. I'm sure they can handle it themselves. They can find a way. The same way these guys attained recognition, I'm sure they can attain it back.
Did you say Crimea was taken from Russia and given to,
according to 1954,
to Ukraine in 1954? So how does it become a problem if Russia comes back and
reannexes it?
What was there? How does it become an American problem?
Because these guys, according to the list of issues that was raising, these guys in Ukraine now wanted to join the EU. It wasn't a Crimea issue for them at first.
But it's not practical.
No, it's not.
So what do you think is the problem with Ukraine?
I think we're gonna put the
Great.
And this takes us back to 2014. Ukraine had been okay.
Yeah, it was.
Until 2014, when you said and the American State Department went and caused a coup with the Orange Revolution.
Yes.
And all these things. That is great. So you find that, have you finished?
I am. I'm done. Thank you.
So Madam President, how do you summarize this issue? Yes. The role of peace builders, and I think even as like from global politics and world problems, you see that the human problems are pretty much the same between a husband and a wife, a brother and a brother, a nation and a nation, and neighboring countries. Yeah? And yet, somehow, once in a while, in some generations, people arise and cause peace. And those are the people who I'm seeing in this room. And how have some of these people come and done some of these things? I'm going to share with you just about 3 or so tools. The first tool is influence. As a peacemaker, you have to work to come to a place where you have influence. What do I mean? That when you speak, people will listen. Or when you decide to go on hunger strike, people will get concerned. Like Gandhi, yeah? Like Mandela. Do you ever ask yourself what happened to people like that? Why our generation does not have people like that? You should feel sorry for yourself.
Because on hunger strike,
like who?
It is Julius, man.
Individualism. Like we need to come to that place where we cry that in our generation there are no generational leaders. Until today, I think the seed has been sown. So the first thing to do is build the character to have the influence. That when you speak, you've seen those people in the villages or in your neighborhood. There are some old people who, if they have not yet spoken on an issue, it is not complete. You get? That's influence. Be those people. Peacemakers, be those people that they will look for you, they will transport you, they will pay you to go and sit between you. The second thing is make money.
Yeah, that's true. If not the first.
The second thing is make money. You might be able to buy some peace for some people with money. Again, for example, you find people are being mishandled on land. People's land is being grabbed. If you have money, you can act on some of those things. As people wait for people who don't have money called government come and pretend to solve that situation. Like if I have the resources, I can say, you know what, people, I've bought your land, you move, go there. You have created peace, right? Make money. And then, the third one, I'll tell you is speak up. Speak up. Always be ready to speak up for people who are being oppressed. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. When you speak up, you are speaking for God. And then I'll use this to speak to art. I believe, as an investor in art, that art is at the heart of humanity. You cannot spell the word art. You cannot spell the word heart without the word art. Neither can you spell the word earth without the word art. So each one of us has a part to play in the revolution that is coming our way. And all we have to do is to play our part. And when you do something so well, what does it become? It becomes an art. And that's why peacemaking is also an art. And if you remember, for those of you who are old enough, have seen apartheid, or to have listened to Kwaito music. Yeah? Do you know that in South Africa, while Mandela was in prison, his wife, Winnie, was in relationship with artists? I want to tell you that apartheid fell partly because of music. Did you know that?
Yes.
Lucky Brenda Fassi, a lot of music which right now I can't remember, but that is how powerful art was. Art was. Did you get it? If you invested in the right art, you can build peace. Yeah? There is this song of Sebata, Dole One.
Yes.
Do you know that song? Have you heard of it? Yeah, Dole One is basically about a woman speaking parables to her husband. Before you go to work, first do the service at home, then everything will be okay. You understand? She passed a difficult message through
parables.
Through art. So that is the other tool I put in your hands. Yeah, support the arts that support peace. That support peace.
We have solutions nowadays.
Again. So having said that, peacemakers are not afraid of doing hard work. Peacemakers are gentle, because peace is just one bad word away from war. Yeah? So if you're going to be a peacemaker, you need to be a kind of person whose emotions, whose anger is in control. It's in your hands. Being gentle. Oktawaganya, mediation is part of that work. And then the other thing is that peacemakers go for honor. Because someone didn't mention ego, but ego is one of the biggest causes of war.
Conflict.
Right? So if you're going to be a mediator, you have to be able to balance people's egos. And how do you do that? By honoring the people on the table. But for you to do that, you need to be able to see people. That's what I'll end with. Peacemakers see people. Peacemakers do what? See people. Now let me tell you the secret of God. God hid the secret of humanity in this simple fact that everyone has a smelly ass. This one is a revelation. Tiri ataunya kabina. Kabe Queen, Kabe Kagame, Kabe Museveni, Kabe Papa, Kabe Bishop, Kabe Mama, Kabe Tata. Teri ataunya bina.
Finally, when you get this registration.
Now, why is that important? Everyone has a hidden weakness, a hidden pain, a hidden issue that if it was up to them, then no one should see it. So God hid it for you. And then you go on and hide it also yourself. Now a peacemaker has to be able to see the humanity, to see people and say, so once you come and bring human beings together as real human beings, that Tshisekedi and Kagame coming together, if they were to meet in a urinal, yeah? What do you think they should say? Or if you are there, you are the one in this urinal and they're here, what would you say to them? Because you find that, again, a lot of wars are dick measuring competitions. But a peacemaker is able to see people as human, people who hurt, people who struggle. And that is the catch that will make you a child of God. Because even God looks at us and He knows our weaknesses fully. And that's why no one is better than the other. We are simply different, simply unique, but together we are stronger, together we are better. And on that note, may peace be seen in your time. Thank you for inviting me, thank you for having me. What have you learned? Peace. Peace.
Peace. We need to be peacemakers, agents of peace.
Some marriages are going to survive, some relationships are going to survive because of this. Yeah? Some people's land is going to survive because of this. I really believe.
And make money.
Thank you very much, people.
Do you have any Rotarian? No. Guests, I would like to request that we stand up. I know we are time bound. But because the topic was sweet, dear whatever, Lagam. I don't know if that's the pronunciation. Lagam. Wonderful. Thank you. So we take this opportunity to, one, thank you for sparing your time. You prepared sufficiently and you are well researched, and maybe you are talking about something that you talk about every time. And demystifying this concept of peace, the value of peace, how we all need to be peacemakers, how we need to be agents of peace, and all this information. And bringing it down to the smallest unit of how it needs to start with each one of us. We thank you so much. I don't want to re-echo what you told us. We've learned a lot. And we request maybe, President, next time we'll invite you when we have even longer sessions. We can go with you for a retreat. We can go with you to Nairobi. We can go with you to every other place so that we continue to tap into that wisdom that you have. When you told us of everyone having a smells, I felt like, oh, why is it because you, what is Akidia Africa? Wisdom of Africa? I felt like this slogan is indeed African wisdom. So, thank you so much. And have this banner, whenever you look at it, put in your room. Remember that we value what you've shared with us. And we shall present to you our certificate so that every other time you remember that we value and you have taken your wisdom you've shared with us in good faith. Thank you so much.
He's a jolly good fellow, he's a jolly good fellow, he's a jolly good fellow.